Today we're heading to a very exciting event. Even though the government is currently shut down, there is going to be a special offering of Colorado Mustangs available, and today we are going to go pick one out and bring one home. This is actually the preview day. I've got 2 hours until I have to be out of here, so I'm just gonna look at the 23 horses that they're offering and see if any of them catch my eye. If you guys have been following anything that's been going on with the Mustangs lately, due to budget cuts, they are closing a few facilities, they are not allowing a few programs to continue, and these Mustangs were caught in the crosshairs of that. All of the Mustangs here today are from different HMAs across Colorado. There are a lot of nonprofits that kind of keep track of these horses out on the range, so I did see a few of them in the wild through pictures online before I came today. There are 2 horses that by the photos I saw are going to be really hard to say no to, but I think they might be a few favorites in the bunch. As I was perusing around, this little girl really caught my eye. She was a little bit nervous, but unlike some horses that get overwhelmed with the stress of this situation, instead of running away or fighting with the other horses, she was stuck in freeze mode. I think this little girl is going to be right up my alley, so I'm putting her on my initial list. Compared to some of the other horses that seem to be curious and inquisitive, she is just kind of standing in her own little bubble, self-regulating her stress by yawning. At 4 years old, this girl would be the perfect age to get and bring up through the ranks with Scarlett and Stewie. One of the horses that is already on my list is this gorgeous hunk of a horse. The photos I saw of him in the wild, he was even more beefier than this. He was definitely a stallion out on the range, and I'm sure he had a bunch of mares. This little brown mare instantly gave off Stewie vibes. She was trying to undo the latches and investigating everything pretty bravely. She doesn't have a piece of paper on her pen, so I'm gonna have to figure out who she is. I thought this girl was a pinto like that gelding, but this is definitely an old injury that she sustained. It must have been a huge gash at the time because all of the muscle is missing and you can feel right down to her bones. The wound was significant enough that when it closed, the hair grew back white, so this is something I'm going to keep track of, but she does not seem to be bothered by me poking it or me giving her some pretty good scratches. I'm not sure exactly when this specific horse was rounded up, but all of the horses here have been gathered within the last year. So even though she is looking pretty calm and collected, this girl has never been handled by humans. After being rounded up, these horses traveled to the Canyon City facility, which is closing down. They have, or I guess had, a program that put some training on these horses to try and help them get into homes. It is really a bummer that they're shutting down this program. It was extremely successful for the horses and the inmates as well. It is really impressive that all of the nonprofits were able to work together with the BLM to get all of the horses from Colorado released so they could be adopted before the horses were sent to other holding facilities. I heard they had 1,700 horses that they were going to be moving around. I don't know that they have an actual date for that with the government currently shut down, but it's nice to know that the Colorado horses have a lot of people advocating for them. Since these horses were rounded up quite recently, a lot of the mayors had foals at their side and were bred back. At the adoption event today, there are 2 pairs that are being offered together. I'm not sure exactly how old these foals are, but they decided to adopt them out with their mothers. I was hoping there would be some younger horses at this event because I think that would be the perfect companion to help Frisco Bill recover from the loss of Pearl.
Hi, little one. Hey, little one. Look at you. Look at you. Watch your head.
While I know Frisco would love to have one of these sweet little babies, I don't think it's wise to bring 2 horses home right now. As I was getting to know these 2 little ones, I noticed one had some definite problems with its eyes. This type of thing can be caused from malnutrition or sickness when they're very young, but either way, this little guy is going to need some immediate veterinary care.
What's up, little man? Can you see out of your eyeballs?
As this guy was melting my heart into a giant puddle, I decided to put him and his beautiful mama on my list. It looks like these babies are somewhere under 6 months old. The lighter gray is a 12-year-old mare and the darker gray is only 3. The bay mare with the scar on her side, I did want to see her trot around and she was being a little bit sassy in the pen. In addition to the gouge on her side, she does have a hock that is not normal. All of the market research that I've done at Mustang adoptions in the past is probably not going to help me any today. Realistically, I should be trying to find a horse that's relatively friendly so I can halter break it pretty quickly. I really do not need a mostly blind baby horse, even if they are super snuggly. In the past, I would definitely look for a horse that needed a little bit of a leg up, but it's a little bit different now. For anybody that's new to my channel, I do have 12 horses currently, and a lot of them are permanent residents. Since I don't need any more permanent horses, the Mustang that I will be getting will be up for sale after I'm done with the either halter breaking or saddle starting. This 4-year-old bay roan is one of the other ones that I saw photos of online, and she is absolutely breathtaking. You guys know I love a plain brown pony, but this girl is beautiful. The photos I saw of her online, she had her summer hair and she was much lighter than this. The Appaloosa that's in the pen with her is very striking as well. At these events, usually the prettiest colors typically get the most bids. As soon as I saw this bay roan, I knew that she's probably going to be one that people are fighting over. Right now, she does seem to be a little bit more standoffish, so that might prevent some people from bidding on her. I also noticed there was a little 7-year-old bay mare that didn't look like she was having such a great time here. Typically, when they separate out one horses, it's because the others are really picking on them. I'm gonna put her on my list just so I can keep track of her. I've done a few videos in the past about a Mustang challenge that they have. Last year around this time, I was looking for a Mustang to buy to participate in that. I bid a lot of money on one of the online auctions to try and get the cutest Palomino with one ear. He went to a wonderful home and they actually ended up winning the English version of the event in Kentucky, which was so cool to see. I have participated in similar events in the past, and those ones, typically the Mustangs are assigned to you, so you do not get to pick them out. This new competition lets you pick out any Mustang you want that's over the age of 3 within a certain time period. While I think the bay horse would be the perfect temperament to participate in that event, she probably is not going to be sound for the type of riding I would need to do to get her ready. Most of the horses here today are mares because, like I said earlier, they were held back to have their foals weaned. I do have a list of all of the horses available today so I can write down some notes on them. I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't just list the HMAs that they were from. As I was walking around though, there were lots of people that knew specific horses from their time out on the range, so I was picking up little tidbits here and there. I really liked this plain brown sorrel mare. She's 4 years old and I think she probably has the right temperament to do the competition. It was really interesting to see how all of these horses were dealing with stress. This little gray was kind of squeezing her muzzle shut and wrinkling her little nose holes. She is another one that was kind of stuck in freeze mode. These horses haven't even been at this facility for 24 hours, so for the amount of time that they've been here, they are doing really well. One little horse that I was hearing a lot about was this dun mare. She was probably the most unthrifty looking of them all. Typically, I would be interested in her just because she probably needs a little bit of extra care, but it sounds like there are a lot of people who are interested in taking her home as well. At first, I didn't think too much of this Cremello. She is a little bit funny looking with her big belly. She has kind of tiny ears and her eyes are in a weird place. She has the look of a horse that really wants to be friends with humans but is not quite brave enough. These events give you a relatively short amount of time to make a decision about a horse, so I try and look at the horses multiple times during different points in the day. I really liked this mare with the star and the 3 white socks. She was a really pretty deep brown color. I do believe that this pen of horses is from the Little Book Cliffs range and were gathered last fall. It was really interesting to see a lot of these horses looked like they had conformation problems, but I do think that it is because of their feet. The area that they were gathered from is very rocky and kind of treacherous terrain. Taking a horse that is used to being out in that kind of footing and putting them in pens that is relatively soft and squishy can make their feet kind of splay out. That is something that I'm keeping in the back of my mind as I'm picking out horses. This Pinto is definitely my favorite of the bunch. If I had less permanent horses, he would be one that I would definitely be putting at the very top of my list. Unfortunately, he is 9 years old and I can tell that he does have some arthritis starting in his knees. He is definitely not unsound. I've seen him trot around a little bit, but it does make me nervous for his future as a possible riding horse. I do not think that you have to ride a horse for it to be usable, but I do have quite a few horses that just get to hang out and are not ridden already. The Mustang that I'm picking out today is going to be one that I have a pretty high level of confidence will stay sound for under saddle training. It is really heartbreaking to get a Mustang like this and then find out that they're just going to be a pasture pet when you really had your heart set on a riding horse. I did a tiny little spook test for these grays. I wanted to see if that darker one was very fractious. All I had to do was stand up very quickly. The two grays moved very quickly, and then this sorrel, who has been kind of stuck in freeze mode, did not move at all. I'm really starting to like this homely looking little girl. It's hard to see now, but after a few months of really good nutrition and some training to open up her mind, I think she would be a perfect prospect. As I was going around today, I just could not get this guy out of my mind. He looks very much like my goose horse, just big boned and a little bit wild-eyed. He is brave around the other horses and has no problem pushing them away, but is not confident about humans. While he is definitely my favorite horse, I want to make sure I make a smart decision. Since I've now seen all of the horses, I can start mulling it over in my mind which one would fit best in with the little herd that I have now. This guy has so much presence, it is going to be really hard for me to say no to him. I really think given a few more days, this Cremello would definitely come around to humans. She was trying to make friends with some of the other mayors, but they were just not having it. Being in holding can be really stressful on these horses. They're taken away from their herd. These mayors had babies removed. I've certainly seen horses that look a lot worse at the regular auctions I go to with domestic horses. This dun mare is a little bit on the grouchy side, but I definitely cannot blame her. This big pretty gray was one that was on my list. I saw some pictures of him in the wild. After seeing him in real life, I just think he's probably not going to be the right fit for me at this point in time. He is a big, pretty, stout bugger, but I do think that he probably was in a band of bachelor stallions, and that might be a little bit tricky to integrate into my current herd. I put a little mark next to his name because I do want to keep track of him, but at this point in time, I don't think he's going to be the right choice for me. I did hear a few people talking as I was going around and looking at these horses that they're trying to find a horse to participate in the Mustang Challenge, and even though he's a little bit on the older side, I think he might be a good one for that. I never like to bid on a horse that someone is really interested in, but today, since I've been waiting so long to get another Mustang, I am just going to pick out the one that I really want the most. After being here for 2 hours, I finally made my mind up about the one I want to bring home. While this bay mare is definitely more outgoing, I've been watching this little black mare get her courage up throughout the day. Every time I went to scratch this mare, the black one would run away, but I knew that if I just kept at it, she would eventually get curious and wonder what all the fuss was about.
Little girl. Hey, yes. Oh, I knew it. I knew it.
Even though this girl is short and stout at around 14 hands, she's got a lot of bone, a very sweet disposition, and after a few scratches, I think she realized that I was going to be one of her best friends. It's going to take a special horse to fill the void that Pearl left, but I think this girl is definitely going to be a good start. I spent probably more time than I should have scratching this girl all over both sides of her body. It is my experience that once you get a horse to figure out what humans are all about, this is pretty typical. For a Mustang like this at an event like the one they're holding tomorrow, she is probably going to be one with a lot of bids on her. The simple fact that you can reach your hand through and scratch her without her running away is going to have a lot of people interested. The bay mare, I actually think is a little bit too brave for me at this point. She is super brave and outgoing, and I think she's probably a little bit on the dull side for me. Her hock also makes me a little bit nervous. The black horse, while she is really friendly, she still does have a natural fear of a lot of things that are happening around her. You can see from this view exactly where I was scratching her, and it was basically over her entire body. This event is a little bit different than some of the Mustang adoptions I've been to in the past. Today they're having a preview, and then tomorrow will be the actual bidding. They run it like a silent auction, so there'll be sheets of paper hanging outside each of the horses' stalls. Since this is an adoption event, none of the horses are sale authority, so the starting bid will be $125 per horse. So the pairs will start out at $250. I have a whole list of horses that I'm interested in, but if other people really want the horses, the prices can get quite high. I've met a lot of people at this event, and they are all really nice. A lot of them are just concerned about the horses and trying to get them in homes. Typically at an event like this, if there are horses with no bids, they allow them to be adopted at the end. And if after that no one speaks up for them, they'll go back to holding. Right now, the horses on my list are this pretty girl. I like the little sorrel horse that is stuck in freeze mode. The pinto gelding that has the kind of big knees. I would love to bring that mom and baby pair home, but I think people are going to be very interested in them. And then the very last horse on my list that is at the tippy top is the black mare. This pretty bay roan does have the same splatty feet that some of the other ones have from being in soft footing. This girl definitely has the look to be a strong competitor for a Mustang challenge, but I do think I might clash with her attitude a little bit. I think these two bay fillies are kind of the sleepers of the event. They are nice and straight and correct. There's nothing too flashy about them, but as bay mares, they are really pretty, and I hope someone notices them. By the end of the event today, most of the horses had settled down quite a bit. If I had unlimited space and my facility all built out already, this little guy would definitely be one that I would bring home. Despite the problems that he's probably going to have with his eyes, I think his disposition makes up for it. Even though I do have my list written down, I'm sure after I think about it for a few hours, it's going to change. And there's really no telling what will happen tomorrow, so I'm going to be a little bit stressed for the rest of the evening and tomorrow morning.
Doing, little girl. How you doing, little girl?
With over 66,000 Mustangs currently in holding, this group is just a tiny sliver of the horses looking for homes. I'm sure the number of reservation horses that are needing a soft place to land is
Stewie?
much higher than that as well. It is going to be really hard to just pick one.
Come on, boys. Dinner time. Hey, Whip. Boy. Boy. Oh. Pete. Frisco Bill.
I spent the evening thinking about what kind of horse would fit best in my current situation. After a sleepless night, I woke up to find one of my current horses out and about.
Hey, little buddy.
With Stewie safe in a solid fence, I was really surprised to see this.
Goosey. I see what you're doing, Goosey. I see you, Goose.
After a failed attempt to hide behind a tree without me noticing him, I carefully made my way over to get his halter on. Goose is one of the horses that will not be leaving here. He had a really hard time early on in his training. He was sent to the auction as an untrainable horse that was going to go to slaughter, and I bought him for a few $100s and trained him up. This horse is extremely smart, but he is terrified of humans even after all this time. Goose's little escapade this morning had me second guessing whether or not I really needed another horse. I've done my best over the last 2 months to get this property situated.
See you, Goosey.
I still have a lot to do, and of course it would be easier if I just waited to get another horse.
Hi, Goose.
This
Come on.
event, however, is so
house.
close to my house, it just makes sense for me to go and adopt one now. After reinforcing the fence, it looks like I'm ready to hit the road. I got really nervous when I saw all of the trailers at the event, but they were also having a horse show. After getting my bidder's number, I realized that there were more bidders than there were actually horses offered today. They will be starting with the auction very shortly, so I'm going to go back through the horses one last time and make some final decisions and get a game plan together for this morning. It was really nice to see so many people interested in getting one of these horses.
Good girl. She scratched. Look at you. Hey, girl. I'll scratch you.
After Goose's escapades this morning, I decided that this Pinto was going to be one that would not fit well in my current setup. Right now, I'm pretty firmly set on bringing the black mare home. Her gentle disposition will be a warm welcome after some of the trickier horses that I've had in training. Next on my list is going to be the little sorrel mare stuck in freeze mode. This little Cremello mare is definitely growing on me, but at this point I think she's going to be just a little bit too fractious to fit in with my herd. Because plain brown horses typically don't have a lot of bids on them, I wanted to take another look at this girl that was stuck in freeze mode. With the horse show going around, there was a lot of different things to see today, and she was really dialed into everything that was happening outside the pens. While I really liked this big gray gelding, I think he is just too close to a lot of the horses I already have. The little tight-lipped gray mare really started to relax over the last couple of hours, and I think someone's gonna get a really nice horse with her. I am really feeling like this dun horse is one that I should have on my list, but I'm gonna refrain from thinking about her until I see if she gets any bids on her. She is one that I would love to bring home and put through my program, but I'm gonna wait and see what happens with the bidding. They're having a meeting for adopters, so I'm gonna hurry over there and make sure that I am where I'm supposed to be when the bidding starts.
I appreciate you being here supporting our horses from Colorado. Get by the pins you want to be at. I will give a big whistle, and that's our start.
There's only so much you can do to prepare for an event like this. There is a lot of different variables when the bidding starts. Everyone that's here today will have a different game plan. I know there's a lot of rescue heres that are probably going to have some horses they really want. I am going to bid on the black mare, but I'm going to wait until about halfway through the bidding period. As I anticipated, this bay mare and the black mare got bids on them right away. At this point, I'm not too discouraged. I'm going to go around and see what horses have a lot of bids on them and then rearrange my game plan. I was really surprised to see that this bay roan had no bids on my first time around. While she is gorgeous, her temperament leaves a little bit to be desired. Even though I know she's stressed and in a new environment, she was just too much like Prim for me to want to pull the trigger on her. I may bid on her if all of my other horses get spoken for and she has no bids. I've only got a half an hour to make up my mind. The bidding goes up in increments of 25, and at the end, the highest bid, of course, will get the horse. After around 10 minutes, there were only a handful of horses that had no bids at all. One of them was the really pretty Pinto and the older chestnut mare in the same pen. The 9-year-old gray gelding that was very stout also did not have any bids on him. I continued to kind of circle these horses like a shark, writing down which horses were still available and which ones had a lot of bids. I was a little bit disappointed to see that my frozen little sorrel horse did have some bids on her. This other sorrel mare with the 3 white socks also had no bids on her, which was pretty surprising because she's a really good looking horse. I wrote her number down and then went back to check on some of the horses on the other side. I've diddly-dallied long enough, and now there's only 5 minutes left to put in a bid. It would be a real shame if that bay roan mare didn't get any bids on her because she's a little bit cranky at this event. Before I make any final decisions, I'm going to go down and see if she has any bids on her sheet. Then I'll finally be ready to place some bids. Just as I was about to walk over and put a bid down for this girl, someone swooped in front of me and took my place. I was a little bit relieved because I really do want to bring home the black mare. As soon as my pen left her sheet, the other bidder came in and put in another bid behind me. She definitely wanted her more than I did.
We got her, Dad.
Well, good luck with her.
I am really disappointed that I didn't get to bring this girl home. I certainly could have paid more money for her, but I had a nice talk with her new owner and I think she is going to fit in just fine. I did let her know that if she got home and decided she did not want her anymore, that I would definitely come get her. With so many Mustangs and reservation horses needing a good home, I'm sure I'm gonna find another horse very soon. Thank you guys so much for watching and stay tuned for the next video.